Welcome to the SportsBros podcast, featuring the almighty B.Live, the money man, Scottie D, and your host, the head of creative, Eddy Kool. And without any further ado, here they are, the SportsBros. Hey, what's going on, world? This be your boy, Eddy Kool, a.k.a. the HOC, the head of creative here at the SportsBros podcast. And guess what you're listening to? Episode number 42, if I'm not mistaken, of the SportsBros podcast. And of course, you know I'm not by myself. I got my two bro Shepsies with me. First off, we got the almighty B.Live.
What's happening? What's going on in the world today? I'm gonna go ahead and say this. I'm going to go ahead and get it out the way. Usually, you guys, to all of our listeners, you hear us on Tuesday. We record on Monday. So right now, as we speak, we are T-minus 10 and a half hours until my boys, the reigning, defending, undisputed national champion Clemson Tigers puts their crown on the line. So I'm going to be highly emotional during this recording today, and rightfully so. There's going to be another bro on the other side of this podcast that's going to claim that we are playing tonight, Monday night. And yeah, I appreciate the support. So let's go ahead and get that other dude and that other bro, the dude with the money, holla at him.
And of course, Mr. Wonderful himself, the money man, Scottie D.
I can't wait till we play tonight. We are so good. We just practice in hotel ballrooms. We don't even need a field to practice. We are psyched. Let's go, Clemson, our boys.
Hashtag who is we?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into the copyrights of that, fellas, because I need to get some moolah, some income, some mucha dinero.
We got them tonight.
Here we go. Who is we? But before we get to we and the rest of them, let's go ahead and talk about these here NFL divisional playoffs. Had some good games this weekend, fellas. Some very, very good games this weekend. Now, we predicted last week that the home teams would win. Well, actually, two of the three of us predicted that the home teams would win, and one would be a shocker. In the words of the mighty B.Live, we were what?
Wrong.
Yeah,
just wrong.
Just wrong. And B.Live made an interesting comment last week. B.Live, you said that Ryan Tannehill needed more than 76 yards to beat the Ravens. Hashtag what happened?
Well, see what had happened. He did pass 76 yards passing. He got a whopping 88 yards.
88 big ones, y'all.
88 yards and led the Titans to victory. No, he didn't. Man, oh man, can you believe just the resolve and just Derrick Henry is just a whole different type of man. Like, I've never ever said this about NFL players. I've said this about college players, but I've never said this about NFL players. Derrick Henry right now is a man among boys.
Yep.
The way he's running the ball, you know he's going to get the ball. And then to the point where now he's let me make sure. Let me get my mind right. Cuz you know I'm old and senile sometimes.
A little all over the place. That's some of all of us. Yeah.
Did he pass for a touchdown this past week or was that last week?
That was this week.
That was this week. It was a jump pass. Yeah.
Is there anything he can't do? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that was a perfectly drawn up play. I just had to remember where
Perfect
it
play.
was
Mm-hmm.
because everybody's gearing up for the run. Everybody's freaking crowding the line. Oh, nope, I can do this too. Let me just a little dink right over your heads. And yeah, I still, right now, I'm still, jaw is on the ground because did anybody pick the Titans?
Oh no.
No.
I would love to claim that I did, but even coming into this game, I thought that the Ravens were gonna make it their mission to stop Derrick Henry and make Tannehill beat him, and he just busted everybody up anyway.
And I'm gonna say this too. I'm sorry. I'm still bitter. I've tried. I really tried to give Lamar Jackson credit and be an unbiased sports analyst. I've tried. I can't do it. I cannot do it.
He ain't got it in
him. I'm still bitter about how Lamar Jackson won the Heisman over my boy Deshaun.
He stole it from us. He stole it right from us.
There you go. Is the whole episode gonna be this way?
Who's we?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, of course, yeah, lies. Anyway, but then again, I can't say too much about Deshaun Watson either. But we'll get to that in just a second. Lamar Jackson is who we thought he was. Do not take away from this season and what he's done. I still think right now he's the clear-cut MVP.
Yep.
Without question. Clear-cut MVP. But the Ravens could have possibly lost all their momentum when they rested their starters and just said went into a bye week. So you got to think. They hadn't played in 3 weeks.
Wow.
And the Titans come in. They're on the gravy train right now. They're riding the momentum. And they literally are playing with house money. Nobody put the Titans in the playoffs. Nobody put them winning wild card weekend. Nobody gave them the slightest chance in HE hockey sticks against this vaunted Baltimore Ravens team. What was their streak? Did the Ravens win 13 games in a row?
I'm not sure what their streak was, but they hadn't lost in a while though, for sure.
I think it was 12 or 13. I think it was
something like that. But yeah, nobody gave the Titans a chance. And literally right now they're playing with house money because once again they're also not. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna say it right now. Who is giving the Titans a chance against Kansas City?
I'm gonna tell you that I'm not. I mean, I'm not gonna completely count them out. But what you're asking them to do now is to beat the division leader 4 consecutive weeks. And the Chiefs are the team that all along I thought was going to be – I thought they're going to be the biggest threat to the Patriots. I didn't think it was going to be Tennessee. But man, how about Mike Vrabel goes on the road 2 weeks in a row and knocks off Super Bowl winning coaches on the road?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, give this guy credit. He's not trying to get cute with the game plan. Derrick Henry's mowing guys down, and he just keeps giving him the ball. He's not trying to do, he's not trying to outsmart you. He's just saying, here, stop this. And if you can't, we're just going to keep running down your throat. I love watching how Derrick Henry is carrying himself. He's so businesslike. He's not doing Ezekiel Elliott feed me more things or signaling first downs. He's just busting you up, getting up, looking at you, walking back to the huddle.
Daring you to say something.
Yeah. He actually looks like, if you ever go back and watch like old film of Jim Brown, where he's like the biggest dude on the field and looks like small guys trying to tackle him, except back then, all the other guys on the field were small and he was a bigger guy. In this day and age, everybody on the field is a lot bigger. It would make Jim Brown look more relative to today, but Derrick Henry just looks like he's a monster out there. And I think one of the Ravens coaches even said, how is it possible for a guy that big to run that fast? He's just beasting guys out there right now. It wouldn't shock me if they went and won in Kansas City, but I'm not going to predict that at this point. I still think Kansas City has too much firepower. But what an incredible run the Titans are on right now. I certainly am not gonna write them off completely.
No. Hey, B.Live, interesting fact. Just take a wild guess what Derrick Henry's middle name is. Yeah.
Get out of here.
No, I'm not lying. I'm looking at it right now. I'm
Dabo?
like, are you serious?
Scott. You doing too much this morning.
He's ready. He is ready.
He said take a guess.
I did say it. I did leave the window open. I did do that.
That is not an educated guess, sir, but it's all right. But, ladies and gentlemen of the SportsBros podcast, our listeners out there, yes, Derrick Henry shares the same middle name as yours truly and the HOC. Yes, me and the HOC have the same middle name. And also, one of our fans to the show that we've had on the show a couple times, the smooth one, JR, all of us have the same middle name. Can you believe that? Me, Eddy, Kool, and JR are lifelong friends of 20 plus years, and we all have the same middle name. It's not being said on the air because you're not getting our government like that. But
you don't need it. You don't need it like that. You don't need it like that. You don't need that. They ain't none of your business. But
I wonder if I have the same middle name.
You do not.
It's a possibility. No, but like I'm just thinking, like as you said, Scott, you made a great comparison of Jim Brown, because I've seen the Jim Brown videos, and like you said, Jim Brown was a man amongst boys out there, and you look at Derrick Henry, 6'3", 247, forget it, 250 pounds. That's a whole lot of man. That's a linebacker with speed running football. Because think about it, Eric Dickerson said the other day, he's like, you know what? When I look at Derrick Henry, reminds me a lot of me. I mean, just that straight up, run it down your throat style. If you can tackle me, good. If you can't, keep trying. And it's the classic case of a man that size with that much strength or scruff and speed behind it. And you got two defensive tackles, and you got a front seven trying to bring that down for 4 quarters. I tell you what, man, you better call them guys on the practice squad. You better hope they've been paying attention because you're going to need all the help you can get trying to bring that mountain of a man down. That's a whole lot of man to bring down. And while you guys were conversing, I looked up some stats. Let's see. When they played New England, 34 attempts, 182 yards, 1 touchdown. Longest run, 29 yards. Last week, 30 attempts, 195 yards, 6.5 yards a clip, okay? 6.5 yards a carry. The week before was 5.4, all right? And his longest run was 66 yards. 6'3", 250 pounds. Good luck, Kansas City, because Kansas City has a bend but don't break but almost let it go defense. And I had no idea that game was going to be a shootout the way it was between Kansas City and the Texans, fellas. So, I mean, what were they? They were who was down 24-0? Was it Kansas City at one point?
Kansas City was down 24-0, and then hashtag what happened? Like literally, I'm watching this game and I'm just like, Houston is playing with a fervor and a intensity. Like Kansas City's wide receivers could not catch the ball. I've never seen this many drops in my life. I'm like, and then I mean the wide receiver drops, then the fumble on the punt return. It is like everything is going Houston's way, and then Houston stopped playing, and Kansas City said, "Hold on, wait a minute, y'all forgot who we was. We could put numbers on you quickly." Like, if I'm not mistaken, Eddy, Kool, I'm gonna let you look this back up because I like to come off the dome with it sometimes, but I'm pretty sure Houston scored 24 points in the first quarter, and then Kansas City scored 28 points in the second quarter, and then Kansas City started off the third quarter with another 13 points. They missed an extra point, and then then Houston scored a touchdown, and then Kansas City scored another 10 points. Kansas City outscored Houston 51-7 after Houston was up 24-0.
Yep.
51. It was 51 unanswered points.
No, it wasn't
51-7.
It was 51-7.
Okay. Yeah, 51-7. Okay.
It was 41 unanswered points.
Okay, so let's see. The first quarter, 21-0.
Okay.
Yep. Then the second quarter, the Chiefs they hung 28 points, 28-3.
Okay.
Then again, it was hung another 13-7, and then they finally closed out 10-0. So you do the math. Yeah, that's 51 points.
You know what it kind of reminded me of?
What?
I've made this comparison on our show before, where I said that Patrick Mahomes is like the Steph Curry of the NFL, and it was almost like you go into Golden State on their heyday years, these last several years, and you get a lead on them by grinding it out, and all of a sudden they just erupt and start draining threes and just go crazy on offense and then blow you out. That was kind of what this was like. Once Kansas City figured it out and got themselves, and maybe they had a little bit of rust on them too from not playing the last few weeks. They didn't have meaningful games for a while either here. Maybe it just took him a second to get slapped in the face and woken up, but then there was just no stopping them. They had 4 drops in the first quarter. They had 4 drops in the previous 6 games combined. So once they got that out of their system and got up and woke up, man, it was just like fast break basketball. It was like they were just playing at a different speed than Houston was. So Houston had a good year. It's a nice run, but Kansas City is to me, I thought was the superior team here. And I'm going to go against everything I believe in and say that Andy Reid's going to get his ring this year, because I always bet against Andy Reid in the playoffs. But there's just something about Kansas City right now that I just feel is they're the ones to stop.
Scottie D, you made an interesting point in the voice chat where you said, "Yep, with Bill O'Brien in Houston, they'll always be a playoff team."
Yeah, just a playoff team.
Mm-hmm.
There were some questionable calls with Houston too. Faking a punt. I mean, that's not. I didn't think that was the right call
on your own 30.
Yeah, I mean, why give the other team a chance whenever you have seized control of the game at that point? Make them earn it. Don't give them a gift like that.
Yeah, that's a whole gimme there. B.Live, what's your thoughts on this here Houston and Kansas City game?
Just simply put, like you keep your foot on the throttle. You don't let up. Now, some people might question the fact that maybe you start running the ball, and I see that's one thing that Houston didn't do. Like, they kept going to the air. They kept trying. I guess in their own right, they were trying to keep their foot on the gas. But when do you place like clock management? I don't know. Like that's always been the question when it comes to when you get big leads and everything. How conventional do you get, or do you keep trying to go? I don't know. But
I think when you have a big lead, man, you can't be cute. You can't be cute. Like, say, just like, for example, you got 21-0. The best way to keep the other team from winning is to keep your offense on the field and their defense on the field. So that way you can bust them up as much as possible. So that way that bad man known as Patrick Mahomes and that explosive offense don't get their ass back on the field. But when you start being cute and fake punts and throw the ball with a lead, then guess what? You give this man a chance to come back and do what he does, and now you're sitting at home in Houston on the couch, and the Chiefs are getting ready to play the Tennessee Titans. Yeah. Fellas, did we predict at all during any point of the season the AFC championship would come between the Titans and the Chiefs? I didn't.
Well, I didn't pick the Titans, but I did pick the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the Chiefs were going to be there all along in the championship game. From early on, I thought it was going to be New England and Kansas City from early in the season, but and I didn't see the big year by Baltimore coming at from prediction mode, or from the beginning of the season. But certainly, Tennessee wasn't even a lock for the playoffs. They were fighting for their playoff lives in the last 2 weeks of the season. On the road, I might add. So, yeah, no, we didn't see this as a possible AFC matchup, but it's going to be interesting because it's going to be two contrasting styles. I mean, offensively, Tennessee's going to want to want to keep their offense on the field with the ground game and taking time off the clock and keeping Kansas City off. And Kansas City's a quick strike offense. They're they got speed all over the field. So it's two contrasting styles altogether. So that's going to be interesting to watch how that plays out on Sunday afternoon. I'm looking forward to that game.
All right, over to the NFC, we got Green Bay. They eke one out against the Seattle Seahawks, 28-23. And then the 49ers, they just stomp the Vikings, 27-10. As I said, I was wrong about the whole Green Bay and Seattle game because Lambeau at home, playoffs, very hard place to play. And San Francisco, I wasn't surprised. We picked them to win at home anyway, so it is what it is. So we got a nice little matchup. But fellas, have you noticed that every time that Green Bay and Seattle plays, there's always some controversy?
Oh yeah,
always.
And now, I think Seattle hasn't beaten Green Bay in the playoffs. I think this is a 9th straight victory that Green Bay has over Seattle in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And there was definitely a little bit of controversy.
No, I don't think that's right, B.Live.
You don't think that's right?
No, I think Seattle beat them to get on that Super Bowl run a couple years ago.
Yeah, they did beat them because I remember seeing a highlight on Fox, so they did beat them. So it
could have been maybe it was the 9th meeting. No, I lied. I know what I saw that at. But pay me no attention. Paying no attention to the guy behind the curtain. Like I said, I like to do a lot of things off the dome, and sometimes I'm wrong. Leave me alone. But one thing I will say, Seattle's been living this freaking down early, claw back all freaking season, and they finally ran out of gas. Because one thing I do know this fact, that Seattle this year is 11-3 in one possession games.
Wow.
Games decided by 8 points or less. They're 11-3. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous to have that many close games.
Yeah, and I think I agree with you 100% when you said they ran out of gas, because I was thinking the same thing. They really had to fight and scratch and claw just to be in that position yesterday. I mean, they had a running back yesterday. Their starting running back wasn't even playing a month ago. Hadn't played in a couple of years. So they really it took everything Seattle had, and I just think they just ran into the better team yesterday or on Sunday. I think Green Bay's getting that week off is really important too. I think in the playoffs when you get a chance to rest some bodies and get a home game. I just think, like you said, that Seattle put up a valiant effort and fought all the way to the end. I mean, they were right there at the end and took a couple key third down plays by Aaron Rodgers to seal that victory. But Seattle just ran out of gas.
Yep, like you said, man, Seattle ran out of gas, man. It was just it's always great to see these two teams play, because between the was it the Fail Mary or the the Fail Mary to did this happen, did that happen? It always makes it interesting, man. But there comes a point, man. You got to score, and you got to score often. You got to get the dub.
I'm gonna be honest though. I like Russell Wilson. But I don't enjoy watching Seahawks games. I hate watching that team play. I'm glad they're gone. I just don't enjoy watching Seattle Seahawks games. I just find them dreadful.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, could you opine? But you said they're dreadful. So
they're dreadful to watch. I just don't like watching their games. I never say, oh, good, the Seahawks are playing tonight. I'm looking forward to this. I just don't. I just can't stand watching that team play. So, adios. Glad to see them gone. I don't care. I'm not an Aaron Rodgers fan either, but I'm glad to see. I'm just glad to see Seattle out of there. They bore me to tears.
Wow. So you didn't even like that Super Bowl team?
No, I don't like Seattle. I don't have like the red hot hatred for that team like I do like other NFC East teams or the Steelers. But I just don't enjoy watching Seattle games. I just find them I don't know. I just don't like watching that team play. So I don't have to anymore this year. And there you have
it. I got you. So do we even need to talk about the 49ers Vikings game? Do we even need to
They were
think
just
about
so
that?
much more dominant and just better. See, Minnesota ran out of gas too. They had the Kirk Cousins situation. I mean, he just came up short. He did get the monkey off his back and get the playoff win the week before, but obviously the 49ers, they're just good all over the field. Good defense, offense is clicking. So good for them.
Yeah, I'd say this right now. I'm glad. Good segue. 49ers dominate Minnesota. Now another NFC North foe. They're going to dominate Green Bay. It's not even gonna be cute. First of all,
I disagree.
You disagree all you want to. That's cool. We can talk about it.
Yeah, I think you're right in that. I do think San Francisco is going to win that game, but they dominated Green Bay tremendously in the first meeting. I think Aaron Rodgers had one of his worst games as a pro, and I just don't think they're going to allow that to happen again to that extent.
Repeat performance. I'm going to tell you exactly why. Green Bay is going to be terrible. First of all, how in the world Seattle let Devontae Adams catch the ball for 8 times for 160 some odd yards?
Oh, man.
They literally have one target. Aaron Rodgers has one person to throw the ball to. Debate me, sir. You said you disagree. Talk to me. Crickets. All right.
Cool. I just did. I think they're gonna. I think
you could think
having that game on film and having that experience. I'm not picking Green Bay to win that game. I'm not. I'm just saying I don't think it's going to be as one-sided as it was in their first meeting earlier in the year.
They're going to get.
You think it'll be close? Gotcha.
They're going to get smoked by 3 touchdowns.
And if that happened, I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm just not. I'm not going to call it going in that way. I just think Green Bay is going to put up a better fight.
Mm-hmm. They'll score 11 points this time.
They'll score one
that would be a better fight. You're right.
All right, fellas. So here we go. We have 2 conference championship games. 4 teams left, but only 2 teams make it to the Super Bowl, baby. All right. Who do you think will be playing in Miami in this year's Super Bowl? B.Live, you first.
Well, this is going to be interesting. I already told you one side of the NFC, without a doubt, San Fran, their defense. Richard Sherman shuts down Devontae Adams, and what else will Green Bay do? I mean, I just think San Francisco's defense they're not going to allow Green Bay to score. They might get 13 points. I'm going to say San Fran 28. No, I lied. I'm going to go one better. I'm going to say San Fran 31-13 in the NFC Championship. AFC Championship is going to be a completely different story, and this is going to be interesting because Tennessee has the tools to slow down Kansas City. The best way to slow down a high-powered offense is to keep the offense off the field. And how do you keep an offense off the field? With a strong running game. The Tennessee Titans have the number 3 running offense in the NFL. Kansas City has the number 26 rushing defense in the NFL. So Derrick Henry might have a field day. But I just don't like. It's one of those things where Kansas City does not have that. It doesn't take them long to score. But I can tell you right now, I don't think Kansas City can do the same thing against Tennessee that they did against Houston. I think if Tennessee gets a 7-10 point lead, they'll grind it all the way out.
Yep.
So, but I don't think they have the same amount of mistakes that they had against Houston. I think Kansas City wins this 28-27. 1 point.
Right.
It's going to be close. It's going to be a grinder. And I think just because Tennessee's ability to slow down the ball, but if Tennessee gets down early, they don't have much of a chance. So I'm picking Kansas City versus San Francisco in the Super Bowl this year.
Yep, I'm gonna have to roll with you, man. Kansas City, Kansas City, San Francisco in the Super Bowl. Just as you stated, like you said, Tennessee has the tools, but what they have on their part is, they got to score early, score often, and keep that that high-powered offense off the field from Kansas City. But like you said, hopefully Kansas City will come back in with a little more mojo and a little bit more vigor, because there's no way in hell that you can do this. You can do it 2 weeks in a row, but would you want to put yourself in that position to do this 2 weeks in a row? I definitely wouldn't. And Vikings and the 49ers and Green Bay, yeah, just go ahead and put a clamp down on Devontae Adams, and that's it. And you got to depend on the Lazards and the Kumaros and the Allisons and the Valdez Scantlings of the world, and that's that. That's it. So, 49ers, Chiefs in Super Bowl. Scottie D said Chiefs. And who you got coming out of the NFC, Scottie D?
Yeah, I like the Chiefs because I think they're going to change the formula for Tennessee. I think Kansas City's quick strike offense is going to go up on Tennessee and force them to have to try to throw the ball to catch up, and that's going to be a problem for them. And I think Green Bay is going to stay with San Francisco, and San Francisco is going to pull away late. So I'm looking at probably double-digit wins for both teams, and Kansas City and San Francisco is going to be your game.
Yep. Sounds pretty good. And that's it right now for the NFL playoffs. All right, we're moving into a new section of the show, or temporary section of the show, accompanied by the thunderous SportsBros podcast. Leaving that in, fellas. All right, new coach, new team, who this? And if you listen to last week's episode, in the middle of the episode, we had breaking news about Mike McCarthy being the head man of the Dallas Cowboys. And we have on record, we have Scott's thoughts, opinions, and reactions, live reactions, as the news broke. Also, in Carolina, they signed Baylor coach Matt Rule as their head man. Joe Judge becomes the head man in charge of the New York Giants. He was a former wide receivers coach for the New England Patriots, another disciple of the illustrious Bill Belichick coaching tree. And Kevin Stefanski, as of Sunday, announced to be the head man in charge of the Cleveland Browns. All right, guys, we got some new coaches and new faces and new places. Which one do you think are going to pay off immediately? It's going to take some time. Just give me some thoughts.
None of them.
Okay.
Not one. I'm gonna say I got a reason behind that. None of them are gonna pay off. Not one of them. I'm gonna say this for Scottie D. I'm gonna steal his thunder. Mike McCarthy is Jason Garrett 1.1.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna say this. I probably shouldn't say this on the air, but we grown men. When do coaches and owners have sleepovers to give somebody a job?
Whenever Steven and Jerry Jr. are in the corner yelling, "Can we keep him, Dad? Can we keep him?"
Like that is so disturbing to me. I get it. I get it. It's spin on a story, whatever, but it literally, that just screams that Jerry Jones has yet another coach in his pocket. Is Dallas going to ever get a coach that is able to make the tough decisions despite of over micromanaging narcissistic dumbass? I'm sorry. See, I cussed. I'm sorry. Jerry Jones is just bad for the Cowboys. He's a business-minded genius that makes a crap ton of money and keeps a mediocre team on the map year after year, and is a media frenzy, and we talk about it, and I don't understand it. The Cowboys have been mediocre for 25 years.
That's a quarter century, ain't it?
mediocre.
Mm.
Even this year alone, they had the best team on paper and somehow managed to be mediocre. And so what do? They fire a mediocre coach. They hire another. I'll give McCarthy a little bit of credit. But when you've got one of the best quarterbacks we've seen in quite some time, you're not able to get along with him. I mean, McCarthy has one Super Bowl to his name. I've seen him make some coaching mistakes with good talent. Is he going to be able to hold the locker room? Everybody already knows he's Jerry Jones's boy. I could go on for days about this. I'm going to bring it back.
Well, you heard my reactions last week. I've had a week now to kind of settle down and take a couple deep breaths with it, and
call Dad.
And I called Dad, yeah, and he had the same reaction as me. We weren't super excited about it. You know, I wanted a young, up and coming, innovative head coach. I was interested in Matt Rule or Stefanski or Josh McDaniels, all those guys, and got none of them. However, Mike McCarthy did some things this week that Jason Garrett never did, and that was put together his own staff. He hired his own defensive coordinator. He hired Bones Fossil to coach the special teams. He let go of a couple guys that were Jarrah guys. Mike McCarthy has had a year away from the game that I'm hoping revitalizes him. I know he spent a lot of time with other people working on film, breaking down film, that type of thing. His upside is that he's not Jason Garrett. We have that going for us as Cowboys fans. So I think I'm not going to say the Cowboys are a Super Bowl team, but I do think that McCarthy can get them back into the playoffs and do that consistently. My biggest problem is, how is he going to handle Dak Prescott? Dak Prescott makes a lot of bad throws. Aaron Rodgers didn't, and Aaron Rodgers, him not getting along with Aaron Rodgers, both I think are headstrong guys. Aaron Rodgers, MVP, Super Bowl winning quarterback, has a little bit of ego to deal with, and him and McCarthy weren't seeing eye to eye on how to run the offense, and McCarthy took the fall on that. I'm not seeing that kind of situation with Dak because he's a different type of player than Aaron Rodgers. He's more a guy that you plug in and hope for the best as a team, whereas Aaron Rodgers is a guy who's going to carry you. So Aaron Rodgers should carry more opinion and more weight on that. But I think now that I've had a week to digest this, I'm thinking I'm going to think positive for McCarthy. I think he's going to get the Cowboys into the playoffs, and hopefully we'll be able to make some noise from there. But I'm not as down on it as I initially was. I have to admit, I'm retreading a little bit on that.
Okay, I think the hire was good for Dallas. I mean, you got a coach that has won a damn Super Bowl, knows how to get to the playoffs, and knows how to win. Like you said, they for once, he's his own man, and they've given him the ability to hire his own staff. I mean, you have to let a coach that won a Super Bowl do that, and I think that holds a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? That holds a lot of
carries a lot of
what's
weight.
the word, fellas? Well, whatever. Yeah, it carries a lot of weight. Like, hey, this man won a Super Bowl, so he might know what the hell he's doing. And so, Jerry Jones, you got no choice but to respect that. No choice but to respect that.
Are you going to tell Jerry Jones that he ain't got no choice in the matter? Yeah.
Well, they spoke for 12 hours. I'm assuming that was covered. I mean, said he had a sleepover at his house, so I'm sure McCarthy did say, it's not like McCarthy didn't have other opportunities. He had other teams that interviewed him, and he was probably going to have more interviews going forward. I'm sure he was excited because the coach of the Dallas Cowboys, that carries a little bit of prestige with it, obviously. But I'm sure that these conversations were had. It's not just like Jerry said, all right, you're going to be my guy and do what I tell you. I don't think Mike McCarthy's the kind of guy that was going to completely go for that. I'm sure that there was some give and take on the coaching personnel decisions. But like I said, he made more decisions on his staff than Jason Garrett did in his time there. So I think Jerry Jones realized he has to back off a little bit, and the team is there. I mean, the talent's in place, and now it's just a matter of retaining a lot of free agents for the Cowboys and trying to sign some missing pieces. But I mean, I'm just hoping what I'm saying is true. McCarthy is going to be good for Dallas.
Yeah.
Joe Judge. Anybody got anything to say
I
about
love
Joe
Beavis
Judge?
and ButtHead. I was so he
Yeah,
created Beavis and ButtHead. Loved one of my favorite cartoons. King of the Hill was really good. I mean, a lot of talent for Joe Judge.
So okay, here's the thing. I'll say this.
Oh God.
I'm still just up in the air, like Joe Judge, Patriots wide receivers coach, former wide receivers coach, correct?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
How did he end up becoming a head coach candidate? If I remember correctly, the Patriots had one of the worst wide receiving cores in the history of ever this year.
Yeah.
Like Tom Brady I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Just a thought. And so but granted, maybe it's just a lack of talent. I don't know. That's part of it. Now the question is with him, will the Giants have a healthy wide receiving core?
No.
Come on, man. All of them are on the men. I think that was the biggest drawback for the Giants this season. Is that all of the wide receivers are hurt.
Right.
So there's a possibility there. But I'm gonna tell you that this is gonna sound a little crazy, and this is gonna be a little sad. The best chance I see coming out of the NFC East this year, I gotta say, I think it's the Redskins. I think the Redskins made the right moves with not only Ron Rivera but Jack Del Rio on top of that. I think that right there is a recipe for success. You don't know what Eagles team you're going to get. They're extremely hurt too. So we'll see if they come back on the mend. I think the Redskins have a better chance of improvement. Does that win them the NFC East? Not necessarily, but I think they improve better than the other teams with the new coaching hires. And then when it comes to Carolina and Matt Rule, David Tepper, way to piss off the league. Way to go.
Yeah.
Oh, these NFL owners are mad at David Tepper because he opened up the bank. He said, "No, you're not going to interview with anybody else. I'm going to secure the bag." Now
And the coach.
And so, but here's the thing about that, because Rule has already said that he's looking for college coordinators. Like they're going extremely young when it comes to his staff. And that's the one thing that sort of concerns me. I understand that offenses are changing and you've got more of your RPOs and your spreads and run and gun situations that has worked in college, but at the end of the day, these are still grown men. And there's only but so much you can do with grown men coming after you. So I see the weapons that Carolina has. I see where a coach like Matt Rule would thrive.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, the biggest thing is that we need to plug some holes, and I think it's going to take a couple years. I think Carolina's going to be a little bit of rebuilding. We definitely, hopefully, switch it back to the 4-3. Hopefully, we get a wide receiver that can take the top off the defense. Like I need me a good prototypical 6'3", 6'4" wide receiver. I need one of them because I think our entire wide receiver core is they're little speedsters.
5'11" and stuff like that. And you remember how the last time Carolina tried that Twin Towers mess?
Yeah,
that worked out.
We're not going to talk about Kelvin, Fatso Benjamin, and Devin, Fun Bags, Funchess. I don't want to discuss that. See, that's not even necessary. I wouldn't mind having I wouldn't mind having a Jerry Judy on my team.
Yep. That's what I was thinking. I was like, ooh, Jerry Judy, you look good.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But I would much rather for us to pick an old lineman in the first round. So, I mean, there's a lot to discuss with that. But I back to my initial statement. None of these coaching hires outside, like I said, the Washington hire really jumps out to me.
What about Kevin Stefanski?
I like that one.
Where he came from.
I like it too. The OC from Minnesota.
The offensive coordinator from Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. But the thing about it is, like, Stefanski's name has been, for years now. They've been talking about him like, hey, Stefanski should be in line for a job. He should be in line for a job.
And he's known to be a meticulous planner and very stable force, and that's really what Cleveland needs. So if he can stabilize that locker room and help develop Baker Mayfield, then Cleveland could be back on the track that everyone thought they were coming into the season.
Because I'm not gonna lie, they did themselves a huge favor by saying hell no to Josh McDaniels. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Other than having Tim Tebow at one time, and other than having that playoff win against the Steelers, Josh McDaniels does not. When you say NFL coaching, head coaching pedigree, Josh McDaniels does not strike me as a NFL coach. First of all, he dressed like a 12-year-old. Okay, all right. I cannot take this seriously. Second of all, don't forget, this is the same man that said, hey, I'm going to take the coach job. Oh, wait a minute. I'm not going to take the coach job. I'm going to go crawl back under the tree, go back into my comfort zone with Bill Belichick and stay here. You know what? That might have been good on his part because guess what? Now we have retired Andrew Luck. All right. But something about Josh McDaniels does not strike me as a head NFL coach. I think the other teams did themselves a huge favor by just saying, we're going to kick the tires on you, but we're going to leave you at the car lot. Because Josh McDaniels does not strike me as an NFL head coach. I never understood the hype when Denver hired him because they were filling a void. But as far as Josh McDaniels, OC for life, son, stay where you at. I should be uplifting, empowering, but damn it, I'm going to be honest. I do not see Josh McDaniels as a head coach. New England, come here, real tight. Listen to me. Josh McDaniels is an offensive coordinator. He is not a head coach.
Okay.
About that.
All right.
I like that little rant, Eddie. Cool. Good for you, buddy.
That was interesting. Got a little closer to the mic and everything.
Yeah, good on you.
I like it.
Yeah, he just don't. The guy dressed like a 12-year-old. I can't take him seriously. Anyways, that's it.
And I wanted to just plug this in because you hit the nail on the head. That is always going to be a red flag on his resume, the way he did the Colts. Like that screams inconsistency. That screams it, and that's the last thing that the Cleveland Browns need because they've been nothing but inconsistent when it comes to their head coach.
Yeah, you don't want another guy that's going to set you back another 5 or 6 years.
And also, with that being said, that's something else that I want Cleveland to do. I need Cleveland to do. I need y'all to give your coach at least 4 years. Regardless of what happens.
No, you can't say that because Freddie Kitchens, if they took 3 more years with him, then
no. You
can't say no matter what.
Let me clarify. You're absolutely right, Scottie D. Freddie Kitchens was a stupid hire. Stefanski, you said it. I believe it. I think that just give the players some type of stability. Nobody wants to go play in Cleveland because guess what? They don't have any stability. They finally put together a paper lineup, and yet no stability. So it's one of those things where you, at some point in time, as an organization, you've got to say, hey, you know what? This is our guy. Freddie Kitchens was just a dumb hire. I don't know why that was even thought of. So I'm hoping that Stefanski does better, but I would at least give the guy 2 years.
They got beat by dancing ass Drew
So
Lock in Denver.
I get what you're saying, Scottie D, but I think the Cleveland Brown fans, I think everybody across the board they're begging for stability, something that they can just grab a hold of, because you got to think as a fan base, the Cleveland Browns all together, heck, they lost their entire team overnight.
Yep, in the middle of the night, literally.
They lost their entire team. So they don't know stability at all. They're like, please, anything, help.
I'll tell you, man, living in this city, they're cool. They like their Cavs. They like their Indians. But this is part of the state where, you're close to Pittsburgh, so you got that little mix of Pittsburgh and Cleveland. The Cleveland fans are die-hard fans. They are severely overdue for some success, for some happiness, and most importantly, some damn consistency. This has to be the most adverse relationship I've ever seen in my life, being a Cleveland Browns fan. Sooner or later, you're going to want to be the Cleveland Browns and no longer the Cleveland Clowns. All right? All right, you no longer want to be the butt of the NFL and the butt of the jokes. Out of 1 to 32, you got a good chance of being either 31 or 32, 31, 30, 31 or 32. All right, it's damn near guaranteed. So that's another rant for another day. That's another rant for another day. And that does it for new coach, new team. Who this?
And now, our favorite part of the show, the choices of the voices.
Thanks once again, Ms. Button, for the first ever Choices of the Voices section of 2020. You heard a woman. That is our favorite part of the show. Once again, thank you to the wonderful and lovely Ms. Button for introducing the Choices of the Voices segment. All right, Scottie D, what is the question for this edition of the Choices?
Well, with the elimination of the Saints and Patriots last week, we asked, what combination would you most likely expect to be back in the playoffs next year? Sean Payton and Drew Brees, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, both of them, or neither of them?
That was a great question. It got everybody thinking. All right, and so I got a few long-winded ones, so I'm going to go ahead and get those out the way first. All right, first, we got David Allen Richardson. He sent me a long one. He said both, and he tells us why. He said, I get money talks, and we will see what Tom do. I feel he may stay with New England just because of what he has done and just being the face of the franchise. There's always a time frame of when to stop. I can see them going to the playoffs. How far they will go, he's not really sure. He said, we witnessed Montana with the Chiefs and took them to the playoffs, and what Peyton done when he got released by the Colts. He said he honestly can't see Tom leaving Belichick and Kraft. He said Peyton and Brees have a history together. They've also won a Super Bowl. I feel that New Orleans has a nice squad on defense and on offense, wide receivers, and they get a nice backup quarterback. For some reason, they can't seem to get over this hump. Honestly, he could see Drew winning one more Super Bowl before it's all said and done.
Okay.
All right.
What else you got? That's good. Yeah. What else we got? Let's kind of roll these all together here because it's kind of a package deal on these answers.
All right, it sure is. And another long-winded one, we have Trey Dizzle. He says, Brady is done. Is that my best Trey Duke voice? He said, Brady is done. The dude has never been a great passer. He's just been a great system quarterback with a great coach. That's a very, very
stupid statement. I
was gonna say that's been heard before, but I digress. All right. Now he's not only mediocre passing, but old. That team is done. The Saints are still in the mediocre division. Watch your mouth. Tampa Bay isn't going to be good. I don't know. And the Panthers are in quarterback limbo with a new coach. They are a 6-10 team, and the Falcons are a subpar or like a bipolar female on her period. They might be 14-2, or they could be 2-14. But I put my money on the Saints with Breeze and Peyton. It's not even a question. Wow.
Trade Dizzle with hot take.
Brady was just the average quarterback in the right system, I guess. All these years, who knew?
Wow. Smoke, fire. All right. Ryan Allen Small, he says, just because they are older means nothing. They take care of themselves and work hard towards maintaining their physicality. They both are very smart in the pocket and can read the plays. As long as they maintain their physical ability and athleticism, and as long as they still have the hunger and drive to win, their knowledge and experience will be a great asset for any team. I wouldn't be surprised to see both of them back on the same teams. They just need the right weapons to throw. Over 40 and strong. So one time, so he put some muscles up there. So shout out to the guys over 40.
That's and as a guy over 40, that's my boss from Beast Ninja, by the way, Ryan Small. We call him Gunny. So I'm just going to quickly address a couple of those if you guys don't mind. But
go ahead.
There's a lot to go into this question because both of those guys are contract questions. I kind of think that both will end up back on their same teams. And I heard Bomani Jones on ESPN the other day say, we're only a couple months away from hearing Tom Brady say, I've never felt better in my life. And that's the thing. These guys are definitely, Breeze and Brady are definitely going to, they're physical specimens. You know, these guys are great athletes and they are going to work hard and are going to have the drive. The problem is whenever you get out there and get hit by some of these guys, you get nicked up here. And when in your 40s, you're not probably going to recover as well as these 22-year-old quarterbacks. So I understand the drive is going to be there for some of these guys, but already we're hearing that Brady was hurt down the stretch this year. Breeze missed games being injured this year. It's just football's such a hard sport to play out year in and year out like that. I think both of these guys, and as far as the weapons go, I think New England needs more weapons. I think the Saints have plenty of weapons. But are we going to expect another year of Drew Brees being in good enough physical health to get through that season and get to the playoffs again next year? That's a question.
Yep. All right. So let's see some of the other answers. We got a friend to the show, JR. He says both will be back. Anthony Browning said Drew Brees. Pete Talaski, big terrible Pete Talaski, said they both should be back. They both are in pretty soft divisions and shouldn't have problems getting back, especially in the AFC East. Ooh, no, man. You got Buffalo knocking on the Patriots' door.
Buffalo surging.
Yep, exactly. So, they for the first time in a long time, they actually have competition in that division. Let's see. Where are we at now? Uncle Max, what's going on, Uncle Max? How about them Packers? He said he likes both. He said the Patriots need wide receivers, and they'll get them. He said New Orleans is heads above the competition in the NFC South. Both teams have elite head coaches, and both teams can play defense. Uncle Max, that is very hard to argue against. Wow, that is very, very good. And so let's see. I think we covered everybody. We heard Scottie D's choice. B.Live, what do you think? Breeze, Brady, neither or both?
I'm disappointed in every single answer. I'm disappointed. This Scottie D, I'm disappointed in you. This is a terrible question.
No.
Because I'm going to tell you why. For the love of God, let these guys go. There's nothing left to prove. There's no reason. I'm going to tell you why. Nobody said neither. I will be the first to say neither. First of all, Drew Brees, take those TV offers that you're getting, bruh. Let Bridgewater and Taysom Hill do their thing. There's a reason why they put Taysom Hill in the game to pass that long ball, because guess what? Maybe Drew Brees doesn't have the arm strength anymore to get the ball down the field. There's a reason why Michael Michael Thomas led the league in receptions and yards because it's dink and dunk plays. Michael Thomas was Christian McCaffrey for the Saints.
Wow.
And you think about it. Same thing with Julian Edelman for Tom Brady. They're not getting the ball down the field, which limits their offense. And it showed clear as day. It's great that Michael Thomas did what he did. But there's a reason why the Saints are sitting at home right now. There's a reason why the Patriots are sitting at home right now. And it wasn't because of their defenses. It's because of their offenses. Sorry. Neither one of them will make it back. The Saints will have a better chance to make it back, but I don't think Drew Brees comes back. He played half the season. He really didn't even get the Saints to the playoffs. That was Teddy Bridgewater that got him there. Drew Brees finished off the end of the season, but by that time, the NFC South showed us who they were this year, which was subpar at best. And I mean, so that right there, just flat out, I don't think either one of them. I think Tom Brady is too. He just, I don't know what he's sipping on that he still has more to prove and whatever. What?
I thought we determined it was what, avocado
but
ice
why?
cream?
Why? What more does he have to prove? It doesn't even make any sense at this point in time. I think, more than anything, this dude took a pay cut to freaking get other players in here. And how did that work out for you? It did not work out for you at all. Shoot, boy, live off your rich wife. Just enjoy the rest of life. Just let it go.
Well, here's the thing. These guys are both capable of being starting quarterbacks in the NFL and elite quarterbacks in the NFL, despite their age, despite their decreasing arm strength.
You're wrong.
I'm not wrong. The question was, can they get back to the playoffs, and would they if they were paired up with these head coaches? And it's not like they don't have the capability. They both just did it. They just did it again.
Drew Brees didn't. That's why.
Yeah. He missed 5 games. They still won. It's like 7 more with him as a starter. It's not like they limped into the playoffs. New Orleans. I mean, I'm not disagreeing that Brees is not losing a little bit of arm strength and is not the player he was a few years ago. I think he's more susceptible to injury now, and I think it'd be harder for him to get back. With the reason that I'm not 100% certain on picking him as that answer is because the division that they're in. I think it's possible the Saints could go 9-7 next year and win their division. Out of the two, I actually think it's more likely that Brady comes back and they give him some more weapons, and the Patriots go back to the postseason again next year, and Belichick remains as the coach. So my answer is Brady and Belichick of the two. I think they could both miss the playoffs. I think they both could possibly make it. But the most likely scenario is that Brees and Peyton are not in the playoffs next year. Brady and Belichick are. Because Tom Brady, and who are we to tell Tom Brady, if you can still play this game, you don't have anything. If he says he still feels like he's got something to prove, that's the way he feels. We can't tell him to feel differently. We can't tell him, get out, you've done enough. If he still wants to play this game, he knows the end is near. He knows he doesn't have much time left, but he feels like he's still capable of doing it and wants to go out there and do it again. The Patriots are going to surround him with some weapons and take one more run at it.
That's because he's in Robert Kraft's pocket, or Robert Kraft is in Brady's pocket because Belichick was trying to get rid of him.
Yeah. Belichick would probably, if it was up to Belichick, he would probably have Jimmy Garoppolo playing for the Patriots right now.
I think that ship has sailed. I think it's over. Belichick wants to move on, and now he's back to the point where he doesn't even have anybody to move on with.
Exactly, and that's why Brady will be back next year.
Terrible situation.
Just to let you fellas know, the backup quarterback in New England, we got Cody Kessler and Jarrett Stidham.
And I bet you that'll be different on opening day next year. The Patriots do something to address
very
that.
different.
Let me say this. We're gonna move on. But I got to make this point. Has neither one of these teams talked to Green Bay when they were going through this mess with an aging quarterback that freaking would not let go? Had Aaron Rodgers was a backup for 4 years. Come on.
But that's a whole different
But
situation.
no, that's not a whole different situation.
It is because Brett Favre was wavering on whether he still had the desire to do it again. Both of these quarterbacks are saying, "I'm all in. I want to be back."
What do you mean he was wavering?
He retired like 8 times. He stepped away, then he came back. He stepped away and came back. He had a press conference. He cried, had a gray beard, all that stuff. I mean, these guys aren't doing that. These guys aren't stringing their organizations along as far as retiring. They both said they want to come back.
Man, I just honestly, I think for the betterment of both organizations, it's time to just move on. Thank you so much. Welcome to Canton, Hall of Fame, first ballot without question. Brady, kiss your 6 rings. Drew Brees, you saved the world from Katrina. Kiss your 1 ring. Oh,
literally bought that city. Oh man, Walter Payton.
That's right. And if he says he wants to come back, he's going to be back again.
Okay, fellas. Well,
it's not a discussion of if they want to come back. I'm telling you, just don't. I'm saying just don't.
Well, who are you to tell them? That's what I'm saying. That's my point I just made is these guys can still do it, and they can. Then who are we?
You're not the boss
who
of me
to shove
man.
them out the door.
I'm me. That's who I is.
I'm going to shove you out the door. Let's talk about Dabo.
Oh boy! Oh boy!
Let's talk about how great Dabo is.
He is freaking great. And when people hear this, when we release this, everybody will have even more to see how great Dabo Swinney is. 27-24 Clemson. All in. Let's get it. We are 9.5 hours away. God bless America. Now you got me up and I'm hyped. Let's get it.
All right, so here we go. I guess.
What was your answer, by the way? Eddy? Cool.
I'm really trying to get. You're not the boss of me, Mr. McMahon. No. My answer, automatically is going to be Drew Brees and Sean Payton. But then you guys have mentioned a lot of interesting caveats in the whole New England situation, from the uncertainty to the backup quarterback situation, which will be rectified and prepared because Bill Belichick is the evil genius that he is. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but he's always thinking. He's probably thinking right now, like in his boat, like, got to find another quarterback in case Tom don't want to come back.
Knowing Bill Belichick, he probably set up Robert Kraft when he was down in Florida with the prostitution ring because he was trying to get rid of Robert Kraft and Tom Brady. Bill Belichick so badly wants to show the world that he can do it without Tom Brady. He's made that so perfectly clear, and the media has buried it. There's a reason why Robert Kraft was in the penalty box earlier this year. There's a reason why all this talk happened.
All right, so I will say for my pick, I will say Brees and Sean Payton, because it's just a ready-made situation. And just like you said, Scottie D, you can't – they'll know when to stop. They'll wake up and, they'll pull a Vontae Davis and be like, we'll just quit in the middle of the game.
Yeah.
Man, that was a very spirited and spirited edition of the Choices of the Voices. Feel like I was in the middle of the old dudes versus the young bucks here for a second, but I digress. Shout out to David, JR, Anthony, Terrible Pete Talansky, Trey Dizzle, Extra hot, Spicy Hot Sauce, Uncle Max, and Ryan Smalls for their contribution into this week's edition of Choices of the Voices. All right, Scottie D, what's next week?
Next week, in the spirit of the NFL postseason, we're just going to ask you to share with us some of your more memorable postseason memories, great moments, terrible moments, great or lousy postseason performances. We just want you to share with us something to talk about as far as your more memorable moments in the NFL postseason. But I am going to ask you to make it only postseason and not Super Bowl, because we're going to get more into the Super Bowl in the weeks coming. So Basically playoff memories here for the NFL. Some of your best playoff memories.
All right, and we'll see you next week for another edition of Choices of the Voices.
All right, now, as we know, in the world of recording, technical difficulties can be a pain in the butt at times, but never fear, your friendly head of creative, HOC Eddy Kool, is here to save the day. Now, around this time of the show, we usually give our social media contacts, the pepper segment, and give you something to leave on a funny note. But we're going to do a little something different today because somehow, some way, that part of the podcast, it got lost. So I'm going to give you guys a quick recap of the LSU and the Clemson Tigers national championship game. And it was a good one. And in case you don't know what happened or why you were sleeping last night, the LSU Tigers win convincingly 45-25 as Joe Burrows, a.k.a. Bad Man Burrows, the Heisman winner himself, goes 31 for 49 and passes for 463 yards and 5 touchdowns. Clemson Tigers quarterback Trevor Lawrence passes for 234 yards. The game was a slugfest. It was an epic slugfest. As B.Live said in last week's episode, it was a de facto home game, and you can tell because the Raging Cajun faithful, the Tiger faithful, they were in the house like the curtains in the blinds. I mean, Joe Burrows, he's a bad man. There's not more that can be said about that. It was a valiant game. In the first quarter, the two teams, they traded touchdowns. And then in the second quarter, a couple field goals by Clemson. And then LSU, here they come. In the second quarter, they had not one, not two, but 3 straight touchdowns. And one went to Thaddeus Moss, who was pretty much untouched in the end zone to close out the first half. And in the third quarter, Clemson came back and scored another touchdown to bring it kind of close. And then LSU, they scored one more in the third and one more in the fourth to put the game away for good. In the second half, Clemson looked a little flat. I will admit that. They were a little flat. To one of their wide receivers, T. Higgins, he got hurt, and he was never the same after that. And also there was a targeting call by the Clemson linebacker, which got him 8-6 out of the game as well, too. That's a hell of a way to leave a national championship game. But all in all, Joe Burrows, of course, was the MVP of the national championship game. And this is what the college football playoffs are all about. As for Clemson, what is Trevor Lawrence going to do? Will he bounce back from this performance and be back in the limelight again next year? And Joe Burrows, well, he might be the number 1 overall draft pick to the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, with that being said, this is another episode of the SportsBros podcast. And in closing, do something nice for yourself. And if you can, do something nice for someone else. They'll greatly appreciate it. This is the SportsBros podcast.
All right, fellas, here we go. We got 2 conference championships game.
Wow.
Down in Tasmania. Here is Tasmania. Down in Tasmania. We mean you.